I also saw in like a couple interviews you've mentioned Keith Haring. Like, what is your background about enjoying Keith Haring artwork?
Man, I think that there's, especially because being from New York, always seeing his art as a kid, um, there's something about, and this is subjective, right? Because art
Mm.
is, but it's something, and I even feel that about my own artwork. There's something about artwork that is like, you feel like you can do it too. There's something special about that. And so to me, it's more special than something that seems like impossible or unattainable. Like
Mm.
if I see like the Sistine Chapel or like these huge murals, like come on, man, I can't do that shit. Like come on, these guys dedicate their whole lives to the perfect brushstroke and shit. When I would see his shit, it would be like it's genius. It's literally like this fucking hand with like italicized things like around them or like a word or an expression. Like that was just like, oh, I could do that. People say I have cool handwriting. I could write a word and highlight it, right? Let me find in something that's important to me or a figure, a dog. You would draw dogs a lot. You would draw
Mm.
guys a lot, like human people or people celebrating and people in togetherness and harmony. Like to me, his art really represented New York City, and when I would see it, I see it in the subway. I'd see shit all the time. I'm just like, bro, like him and Basquiat were really like two artists that it always seemed like you could do it. And it's so funny that people devalue art that way. They'll say
Mm.
that's some easy shit. They might say Jackson Pollock or another artist is just like that's just a splatter of paint. And it's like, so you do that, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is like regardless of whatever you think about somebody's art, the amount of time they put into it gives them the freedom to sell for whatever they want. If you put in 50,000 hours into painting and you don't like this person's painting, it doesn't matter. Like you think that anybody that put that much time into something is really that bad at it? Like we
Mm.
can't judge it because it's art, it's subjective. So you can say Picasso or Kandinsky or whatever, Rembrandt, these are all like different artists, but what they do have in common is the copious amounts of time they put into being the best. And I think that all geniuses really do that unapologetically. They don't have a timer, like I'm going to work on painting for 45 minutes today. You may say that, and then you work on that shit for 7 hours. You know how many times I've worked on something, and whether it's music or art, and I think that I'm done, but I'm not. And it's like a sculpture. It's a sculptor that you can't, it's incessant. And when you
Yeah.
love something, you unapologetically do it. Keith Haring's work to me was always something that was like, I could do that. And then you go and try to do it and it's just not the same. And you actually realize that this person has thought about this way more than you have. And if you want to be that good, you need to put the time in too, and art to me, that's the difference. And I think that music is the same art form. It's like, oh, I can make beats like him. So turn on your beat machine and do it then. And when
Mm.
you actually sit in front of the instrument, you're like, holy shit, like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then at the same time, all you do is imitating. And I think that to be innovative means that you may be inspired by 50 different people to make the thing that you do, but whatever it is that you make it should reside with originality. It should be something that only you can create. So when I think of Keith Haring in a long way, it's just like, bro, if you could say I'm a fake ass Keith Haring artist, and I'll be like, cool, because he inspired me. Like that's cool. But to me, there is no Keith Haring doesn't have a fake ass Keith Haring. He's what he is,
Yeah.
and he was to me one of the most prolific artists because of his understanding of how to make something even sad have optimism. And he was speaking about a lot of positivity that the world needed, and his stuff is still revered today because of that.
I love that answer. He's definitely my favorite artist. Did you see I think it was last week they just discovered some more works by him on like those.
Nah,
He was one of the first people to start adopting like drawing on PCs. So there's all these like
crazy.
undiscovered work that was on these like computers that they're about to like sell on. I think they're turning them into NFTs, which has pros and cons to that. I don't know if Keith Haring would be into
I don't think he'd
NFTs,
be into that. I don't know him, but
but that is so insane. He was drawing on computers like in the 80s. That shit is insane.
it's nuts. It's
And
nuts.
I have this like it won't show up on camera. The camera's too far away. But when I was 18, I went through this phase where I forgot Keith Haring's name somehow, even though he was like my favorite artist. I was trying to explain to people what his artwork was, because I was like, he's my favorite artist, and he has those people and their hands are like this and they're different colors, and I decided to tell this tattoo artist that, and they had no idea what the fuck I was talking about.
What do you want me to draw, bro? Like, what?
So I ended up with these I have like the worst impression of like a Keith Haring picture on my shoulder, and it's just like three people that look like gingerbread men holding hands, and they're all different colors, and I'm like, Keith Haring. So my goal is to eventually get that covered, or just get a different Keith Haring picture somewhere else that's actually Keith Haring.
At least you know his name now to get the right photo, the right imagery.
It's so the tattoo's terrible. But it's like one of those like love-hate tattoos at this point. But my favorite, do you know anything about his artwork, Andy Mouse?
Mm-mm.
Ooh. So I just bought just like the prints from it, but Andy Mouse is Keith Haring's creation of Mickey Mouse mixed with Andy Warhol, because they were like pretty close. And it's like, if I was going to get a Keith Haring tattoo to either cover the shitty one I have, or I can't even say that's a Keith Haring tattoo, to have the cover the gingerbread men I have on my shoulder, I would definitely you should look up Andy Mouse though, but it was basically like 4 pieces that he drew, and it's like a collection, and it's like, because I'm a huge like Mickey Mouse, I have like Mickey Mouse on my, I don't know if you could see this, but I have like Mickey Mouse on my arm, and then I have in my new studio, like I have multiple rooms. So one of them is for like when clients want to come in and record their own show, and then I have my own podcast studio, NAST Podcast, and it's kind of like a man cave at this point. It's like all these like different like Mickey Mouse stuff and shit, and then like the Andy Mouse is like right front and center.
Sick.
But yeah, that's super cool to actually hear you, because I feel like you talk about him all the time on interviews, but I haven't really seen anyone actually ask you what your fascination with him was. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever been asked that, to be honest.